Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to talk about the knitter issue 219, which is in the shops in the UK now. You can also get it online through the Zinio app. Last time, which was only a couple of weeks ago I think, I showed you my two designs in issue 218. I will link to that video below and at the end of this video. And I showed you what it looked like on my Zinio app, because that's how I got that magazine. But the knitter have sent me a copy of this, which arrived today, so I thought I'd film this video quickly. I'm going to show you what the design looked like before I sent it off to the magazine, also show you what the pictures look like in here, and a few of the other things that are in this issue of the knitter. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Let's talk about the knitter issue 219. It's in the shops in the UK now. You can also get it on the Zinio app, Zinio. The last issue, 218, in which I had two designs. I actually showed you the photos on the Zinio app. But this arrived from the knitter this morning, so I thought I'd film this video this afternoon and show you what this design looked like. Before I show you what the pictures look like in the magazine, let me show you what the design looked like before I sent it off to the magazine. So this is from a few months ago, and this time I was wearing my mic when I was recording that. The one I recorded from issue 218, when I recorded the two pieces on the two designs before I sent them off to the magazine, though I recorded that before I got my mic, and I could really tell the difference between the intro and talking about what else was in the issue, where I was wearing my mic, and the bits I recorded downstairs not wearing my mic. Massive difference. So you'll be pleased to know, if you watched our previous video, that for this one I was wearing my mic. So hopefully the sound will be okay. So let's take a look at this top. I've set my dress form much higher than I normally do, because the main detail on this top is on the hem. So I'll lower it in a minute so you can see the neckline on it as well. But the main detail on this sweater is on the hem. So let me talk about how this sweater is constructed first. It is worked in pieces. So the front and back are worked separately, because it's easier when you're doing the mosaic to work it back and forth. Mosaic is a really fun way of knitting colour work. You're only knitting with one colour per row, and you are knitting on both right and wrong side rows. So it's done in garter stitch, and it gives it this really nice textured look. And I've done two repeats of the mosaic pattern on the hem, on the body, and on the cuff on the sleeve. I've only done one repeat. If you want the slightly longer cuffs, you could make them as long as you have on the body. You just do another repeat of it. The front and the back are worked separately, and then when you get to the shoulders, let me just lower this a bit. When you get to the shoulders, you join the shoulders by working a 3-needle cast off, and then you pick up stitches for the sleeves. It is a drop shoulder sleeve, so when you knit the body up to here, it tells you in the pattern to put some markers in, and that's really important, because otherwise you've got no way of knowing where to start picking up, because you're going to start picking up stitches here, pick up to the shoulder, back down the other side, and then you knit the sleeves back and forth and finish with this mosaic hem. So the sleeves are knitted from the top down. Now if you want to try it on as you're knitting the sleeve to see about the length, then you can, once you've done a little bit on the sleeve, you could just sew the side seam and the underarm seam and try it on, or you could also, before you start knitting the sleeve, you could sew the side seam and then knit the sleeve in the round. You'll obviously have to make some tiny adjustments to the pattern, but it is doable if you know what you're doing. When it comes to knitting in the round, it shouldn't be too difficult. Then you could just do the cuff back and forth, and then just do a little tiny seam down here. That's not that difficult. And then the neckline is picked up. I've used the teal colour that I used on the hem to get a bit of contrast around the neckline. If you don't want to use the contrast colour, you can use the same colour as the main colour. But I've used the contrast colour, and I've just done by 4 rows or rounds of garter stitch. So the neckline is knitted in the round. I always knit necklines in the round, because just less sewing up, and it makes it neater. And then at the end, you just sew up your underarm and your side seam on both sides, and then weave in the ends and block it. So it's a little bit of sewing up, but not a ton. If you do want to learn how to sew up properly, and all my other finishing techniques like picking up stitches, working short row, shoulder shaping, necklines, wrong row buttonholes, all that kind of stuff, including sewing up using mattress stitch, then I do recommend my Professional Finishing Techniques course for knitters, which is an online course. I teach it in person as well, so sign up to my newsletter and check out my website for where I'm teaching it next. But if you can't get to an in-person course, you can do my online course, which you can start at any time. You can work in your own time, at your own pace, and repeat the course as many times as you like. So you can watch through all the videos, do the exercises, and then if you're not knitting anything straight away, you'll probably forget. And then next time you need to use any of the techniques, you can just log back into the course and access the lessons you need. So let's talk about the yarn a minute. I've used this yarn a few times now. It is a, I guess it's the kind of upmarket luxury collection from King Cole. It's KC Naturally Soft 4-ply from King Cole. And it is 90% blue face Leicester, 10% Afghan cashmere. So it has the softness of the cashmere. You can definitely feel that kind of soft silkiness of the cashmere. It does soften a lot when you wash it. So after I finished knitting it, I washed it in lukewarm water and wool wash. I use Soak or Eucalan. At the moment, for this one, I use Soak because that was the bottle I could reach easiest. I've got Soak and Eucalan in my cupboard, but whichever one's at the front of the cupboard is the one I grab. So I use Soak it for about 10 minutes. If you're worried about the contrast color bleeding onto a lighter color, for example, so I think this cream one is probably the undyed one. I think it's called Ivory. No, Winter White, this cream color, off-white color is called Winter White. I think it's probably the undyed colorway. Probably the color the yarn comes in naturally because it looks very much like the color of undyed blue face Leicester. I only soaked it because I'm lazy. I only soaked it for like a couple of minutes and then because I just want to wet it so I can block it really. But I normally would soak it for about 10 minutes and then squeeze out the excess water in a thick towel, and then I stretched it out on my dining room table and pinned it in place. If you're using a neutral color and a brighter contrast color and you're worried about the contrast color bleeding onto the white or the neutral lighter color, then I would recommend that you knit a swatch. So if you knit a swatch, it doesn't have to be the mosaic pattern. You could just knit stripes or something, for example. Just knit the swatch with a section in the neutral color, a section in the contrast color, and then leave that to soak. Soak it for 10 minutes, take it out and see what it's like, and then try and soak it for a bit longer and see what it's like. There was no color loss from this teal color, but if your brighter color has got too much color in it, so quite often when people dye bright colors or rich colors, there will be a bit of color loss. It's like buying a pair of dark blue jeans or a bright red sweater. First time you wash it, first few times you wash it, there can be a bit of color loss. It's just the excess color that's coming out. It doesn't mean that it hasn't been rinsed properly or the color hasn't set properly or anything like that. It's quite a common thing to happen. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to bleed onto the rest of the jumper, but if you're worried, do a test with the swatch before you make the garment. Soak it for 10 minutes. Don't need to soak it any more than that. Some people talk about soaking it for an hour. Unless it's like really dirty, you don't need to soak it for that long. 10 minutes is fine. If it has silk in it, then you need to soak it for longer because silk takes longer to absorb the liquid. And then take it out. If you're soaking the swatch to test for color fastness, then I would soak it for 10 minutes, take it out and see whether it's bled at all. If it hasn't, you're still a bit worried, put it in for another 20 minutes and see what happens. But if you have a bit of color loss, the longer you leave it in the water, the more likely it is to bleed. But I've quite often done that, just tested it. This is not a hand-dyed yarn. This is commercially dyed yarn, so you're less likely to get bleeding, I think, than hand-dyed yarn. But I quite often see people who buy hand-dyed yarn and then it bleeds a little bit or comes off in your fingers or whatever, and people think that the yarn hasn't been set properly or rinsed properly, and that's not the case. A lot of stuff you buy, clothes you buy, have excess color in it, and that will rinse out as you wash it, and that can also happen to yarn. especially with certain colors. So don't worry about it too much, but if you're worried, do a test, and then you will know whether you need to be careful with the garment or not. The yarn, as I said, is Blueface Leicester and cashmere, Afghan cashmere. It is soft, but because Blueface Leicester isn't super soft, you can tell the difference between Blueface Leicester wool and merino wool. Merino wool is a lot softer. Blueface Leicester is not as soft as merino wool. So this won't be as soft as you might expect it to be when you're knitting with it, but it does soften up a lot when you wash it. So now I washed it, the fabric feels really soft, and it has that kind of slightly kind of silky feel that cashmere gives you. It is only 10% cashmere though, so it's not a huge amount of cashmere, but the more cashmere you add, the more expensive it gets, I would say. So I used the color Winter White and Teal. I've used this yarn a few times now for various designs and magazines, and I really enjoy knitting with it. This was knitted by one of my sample knitters, but I swatched with it, and I knitted the neckline, and I did the sewing up, and I have knitted with it in the past, so I am familiar with this yarn. And I think it's a really good yarn, slightly more luxurious yarn from King Cole. They seem to do a range of slightly more luxurious yarns now, and I really like this yarn. It is a sort of 4-ply sock weight yarn. It has 190 meters per 50 gram, so it'd be about 380 meters per 100 gram. And you only need one other contrast color, and then the pattern tells you how much of the main color you need to use. Okay, so let's have a look and see some of the designs in this issue. I do like the fact that the knitter have like a page at the front, double spread, with all the designs, pictures of all the designs. That's mine, page number, and then it also lists them all with the name of the designer. So it says the name of the page number, the name of the designer, and then the name of the pattern on the page. So it makes it easy to find it. So let's go and look at my design first, which is on page 60, and then I'll show you some of the other things that are in this issue. This is my design. It's called Kainan's Co. I think that's somewhere in Cornwall, which I should probably know. I didn't name it, the knitter named it. I really dislike naming designs. I just never know what to call them. So for magazine designs, I tend to leave it to the editor. But that's what it looks like on the beautiful model they have. I do like the fact that they're using a more diverse range of models now. And I think that looks really good. Quite good contrast between the colors. You can lengthen the sleeves if you wanted to. Just keep knitting them longer before you start the color work. That's fairly easy to lengthen the sleeves. But I really like that. So it's a cashmere blend yarn. So it's nice and soft. And let's just have a look to see a couple other pictures. Now I've got to be careful not to show you the pattern. Okay, I don't think there's anything important on that page. There we go. So let's take a look at some of the other things that are in this issue. There are some short sleeve tops and some longer sleeve tops. There's a men's design. So a variety of stuff in this issue. The first one is a Mary Henderson design. You will know I really like Mary Henderson designs. This is a very subtle farewell sweater, floral colorwork sweater with short sleeves. That is very pretty, very subtle and soft colors, which I really like. So that's really, really nice. I like that. Then there are the Knitter Loves pages where they highlight various things. Books, patterns, knitting kits. I'm not going to show you that. Then they highlight some YouTube videos. And then there's a design, very bright, colourful design by Chloe Elizabeth Birch. Very, very pretty, very colourful. And then there's a Jacinta Bowie pull-out, 8-page pull-out for that design. That is beautiful, isn't it? Very intricate. It's a very intricate design by Sarah Hatton. Beautiful. It's a beautiful lace shawl, lace and stocking stitch, I think, shawl by Brona Miskelly. Very, very pretty. And I do like the fact that they have occasional men's designs in here as well. So this is a vest top by Pat Mancini. Then there's an article, Windswept Wool and Wonder. It's Janine Sterling explores the beautiful yarn and kits produced from the wool of the Mackenzie family's croft on Shetland. So I'm looking forward to reading that. This just arrived before lunch. It's like an hour ago. because I'm tired today. I didn't feel like doing any other work this afternoon, so I thought I'd record that. And that's my pattern again. There's a kid's sweater by Chloe Elizabeth Birch called Flying Friends. That's very cute. And then there's a Folky and We County Yarns. We County Yarns. I think that, yeah, that's from Scotland. I have got some of their yarn. I got one of their mini skein sets maybe a couple of years ago, a Yarndale, I guess, and I still haven't done anything with it. And I really must do, because it's beautiful yarn. They do amazing colours, really, really nice colours. They've got one of the photos here is the Welsh flag. If you're not familiar with the Welsh flag, Google it, but you can see it here. It's really intricate. It's got a dragon on the green and white background, and it's really intricate. And somebody has created a colourwork design for Wonderful Wales. I guess it was for their stall of Wonderful Wales. And I'm not going to show you all the designs in here. And then there is a thing on what's in the next issue. And it looks like I have a design in the next issue as well. I'm trying to remember which one of these. Any of these mine? I got a feeling that maybe that one is mine. But I can't remember. I'm really bad. Once I've shipped something, I just can't remember. I forget about it till the magazine lands on my doorstep. Or the magazine posted on social media and tags me in it. So that is some of the things that are in this issue of the Knitter. And it's a really nice issue. I'm looking forward to reading it. I probably should read it before I do this video, but it arrived today, so I thought I'd film this video quickly because I'm too tired today to do any other work. So I thought if I film this quickly, then I can pretend I've done some work this afternoon and then get downstairs and edit this video and do a bit of knitting. So that is the Knitter issue 219 in the shops in the UK now. You can also get it online. I will link the Knitter website, which is called Gathered. I'll link that below. I'll also link, if I remember, my last video on issue 218, which was probably out 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. It was actually out earlier this week, so I'm filming this on the 27th of August, but I don't think this magazine is out till towards the end of next week, so I can't post it yet. So but I was late filming the video for the previous issue. Anyway, in the shops now. On the back there's some West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. It's a Retreat twist yarn, chunky, really nice colours, very nice. So that's it. Go and check it out in the shops now. Let me know if you have seen this issue, if you like it. Was there anything that I showed you that stood out to you? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Leave me a comment. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.